One of the most common questions I get about the Bible when we claim it's the Word of God is whether it has errors or mistakes in it. In fact, you don't have to be in a conversation with your non-Christian friend for more than about 5 minutes before the claim is made that, wait a second, the Bible has all these errors and mistakes and contradictions. And that's an important question, and Christians have had a very clear answer to that question. Our belief is that whatever the Bible affirms, since it's the voice of God, always affirms what is true. And this is what we call inerrancy. It's the belief that the Bible doesn't claim to say one thing in one place and a contradictory thing in another place. But yet the charge is often still laid against Christianity that in fact the Bible does disagree with itself. Now, any given Christian can't have an answer to every possible objection, but one of the things I tell people is that there's some standard answers you can give to that question on a general level. One is that you can ask your non-Christian friend what contradiction they've studied that they found the most persuasive as a real contradiction. Now, most of the time you do that, actually the quick answer you'll receive is that there's actually not a contradiction that most people have studied that they feel is a real contradiction. It's just a general idea they have about the Bible. They have no tangible example they present. And I think that actually reveals something, that most people who think the Bible contradicts itself really haven't looked closely at those details. However, you do come across some folks who have looked at those details. And there are passages that are difficult and tricky, and sometimes we have to dive into those and help people understand why those aren't contradictions. And often there's misunderstandings about the way history works. For example, people look at the Gospels and say, well, look, one Gospel has the stories in this order and another Gospel has the stories in that order. And they don't realize that in the ancient world it was not unusual to tell stories that aren't in chronological order. You link things thematically, not necessarily chronologically. Others look at the words of Jesus quoted in one Gospel and they're slightly different than another Gospel, and they think, hey, you have a contradiction here. And once again, in the ancient world of the way history was done, you would often quote people in a way that wasn't necessarily verbatim or exact like we would in our modern day. You would summarize somebody's statements, you would paraphrase it, you would reword it on purpose to meet the needs of your audience. That was very common and normal and accepted. There's no reason to think that counts as a contradiction. And what you discover over time as you sift through these things, a lot of the things that look like contradictions eventually sort of just evaporate on closer examination. And this is why Christians over the years have had a lot of confidence that when the Bible affirms something, that we can have confidence that the Bible affirms something that's true.